Hello, everybody. This is Tammy Morrison, and I'm live on YouTube, and I'm here with my royalty-free jazz music that I got off of YouTube playing. Might be able to hear a little bit of it. I'm trying not to make it real loud. But I wanted to just come on and talk to you guys and continue in the frequency of abundance, because people are actually reaching out and asking me about that. And I feel like I want to create a program around it. So that might be something that's coming soon. But this is day 12 of 30 for me. So I committed to doing 30 days of live here on YouTube as well as on TikTok. If you are not following me on TikTok, follow me on TikTok at Intuitive Tammy. You can follow me at Intuitive Tammy. You can follow me at Gen X Journey to Wellness. That is my backup page. So, but I'm more active on Intuitive Tammy. That's where I go live mostly. I still try to bounce back and forth. But anyway, I wanted to just kind of come on here and talk about this, getting into this frequency of abundance. And what I want to do is I want to break down how this thing works, because there are so many gatekeepers in spirituality. So many people that are like, oh, well, you have to do this in order to be able to get this, or you have to do that in order to do this, and they actually put quantifications and qualifications on like the law of attraction and different tools and techniques and stuff. And so I'm here to, dispel myths, break down stuff, because for me, my background was in religion. Matter of fact, it was in deep Pentecostal Southern Bible Belt religion. For those of you in the States, Bible Belt. They used to say it was a liquor store on every corner, but in the Bible Belt, it's a church on every corner. And now they put them in, they put them in anywhere. They put them in storefronts, all kinds of stuff. And so, that's how I grew up, and then I woke up and awakened and discovered, metaphysics, and I discovered that God is so much bigger than the box that religion tries to put them in, because God is a collective. And God is us, God is me, God is you, God is all of us, because God created us in his image and in his likeness. So that means that really technically we are God's. So, and I know that some people might disagree with this, some people might think I'm blaspheming, but if you read the book for yourself, then you'll be able to see. Because one thing about the Bible, it says that you need to read the Bible in spirit and in truth. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. But this frequency of abundance, I'm going to talk about it, because I'm telling you, y'all, I have really started to tap into this thing. And for me, what I decided my frequency of abundance was that everything that I desired, everything that I want, everything that I think about, I receive. I get it. Don't worry about how it's going to come. And that's how I believe that the frequency of abundance is. Because once you stop worrying about the how, because I had a conversation with the girlfriend about this recently. I said, we have to stop being concerned about the how. Even though, yes, we know that it requires vehicles, to get funding and different things like that. But we have to stop being concerned about that, because miracles do happen. And then the other thing is, too, you don't know what kind of beautiful blessing you're going to have tomorrow. You're looking at right now. You're looking at which I need to do that, but you're looking at your bank account right now, this second, and you haven't gotten paid yet. And, when you look at your bank account right now, this second, you see craziness, right? You might not have no money. You might have spent everything you had. You might have $0, because many of us live that way. And so, when you look at that, you think one kind of way. But when you can take your attention off of that, and when you can really divert from that, even though, and I'm not telling you something that's easy. I'm telling you something that it requires work, and it is a challenge, because I'm speaking from experience. I know what that looks like. I've seen it. I've done it. I started doing all the things. I started trying to follow Dave Ramsey when I was deep in the church, and And so we were trying to do Dave Ramsey. My ex-husband and I tried that because we, was in some debt, and so we was working some things out, and we wanted to buy a house and all this stuff. And so I was trying to work through the Dave Ramsey thing, but you can't do that if you and the person that you're working with and on are not on the same page. So we were only on like the top of the page. All the rest of the page we weren't together, because he just, because Dave Ramsey suggests stop spending so much, cut down on your expenditures and stuff, and stop paying your shit off. One bill at a time. Pay this bill off. If the smallest bill he says to start on, because that will give you a sense of accomplishment, and then you can feel like you can continue. And so we were trying to do that, and but like I said, everybody has to be on the same page. One person can't be out here trying to pay bills and the other person is spending everything that they make. And so that was a problem for us at that time. But I was on that train. I was like, oh, Dave Ramsey, because I always knew that abundance was mine. I always knew that I was abundant. And I tell people all the time, I'm spoiled. I really am. I used to say I wasn't, and I used to think people, if they said that to me, that it was a bad thing. But now I realize it's an amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing. I am spoiled. I have always been spoiled. And I'm even more so spoiled now. And the good thing is, it's not a bad word, and I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. Actually, I'm really okay with it. But I had to learn that was also a part of the frequency of abundance for me. And so I recognized that. And so when I looked up and I started looking at, what I've never been homeless. I can't ever remember a time when I was homeless. Now, have I been close? Yeah. Have I been evicted before? Yes, I did have an eviction in my life. But it wasn't a real eviction. It was just the people being nasty, because we had already told them that we needed to leave, because we just I think my ex-husband had lost his good job he had, and he had to take a job that wasn't so good. So we just couldn't afford that particular rent at that time. And so I told him, when I discovered that there was no way we could do that, it was just going to take too much, and I was already working a lot. And so I said, no, we don't need to do that. And so we found, a house that was cheaper. We're actually going to buy that house, but, and now I think about it, we probably weren't supposed to do that anyway. And, but we, and so we had already moved out, and then they sent us a damn eviction. I was like, that's just being nasty, because we already had told them we were moving. We cleaned the house and everything really good and all that. So it was, they were just being hateful. But yeah, I've had that before. Have I had cars repossessed? Yes, I have. I want to say I had two. One, I actually did a thing. They because they were hateful and evil, because we were paying them. We only owed something like, wasn't even that much money, maybe $1,500 or $1,800 or something. But it was a Buick, so it probably wasn't going to last that much longer anyway. And it had over probably 150, 200,000 miles on it almost. So yeah, but I mean, I have had, and I've had a lot of things happen in my life, like those things were like traumatic in my life, because most of the time, it was because we just couldn't come to an agreement about the money. He couldn't come to an agreement that he needed to pay more money than he did into the household. And I worked so much, and I was so tired. It was hard to even deal with anything really, besides, my kids, and making sure they got where they needed to go. And because everybody does sports and all these things, and we kept them real busy. And so, but there's a cost for that. But anyway, so I started thinking about all that stuff. I said, I've never, and I've always been able to, take care of most things, and so I had to sit down and think about that, because what that did for me was it caused my root chakra to just fall in love with me. And I don't know if y'all know what that feels like, because that anything with your, with your survival is your root chakra. And so I'm like, okay, so I took care of my root chakra, because that let me know that regardless, I've always been taken care of, and I always will be, so I didn't have to worry about those type of things. Mm-hmm. So that's what that's the thing. It's like, this is what you have to do. But the thing is when you really start to unpack, because that is really the journey that I started doing. I just started really like diving in and unpacking, because it's so much, because I'm like, I'm unpacking, 50 years worth of stuff, because I'm 55 years old. And so I'm unpacking all of this stuff and all of these things from the past, and, all of these things that, I might not even realize. Because I mean, the truth, y'all, is I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I don't remember it. I'm missing a whole lot of it. And I don't know, I really don't know why, because I don't. And then I guess if I don't remember, but I can't think of any like super, super traumas that I had or anything for me not to remember, except for the fact that, my parents split up when I was young, but I had an amazing man that stepped in and, took care of me like I was his own. So I didn't miss anything. My grandfather was there before that. So I didn't miss anything, I always had love, so that wasn't ever a thing, but I know that there's a piece in you that, you wonder, people that don't know their other parent or something like that, biological and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know what it is. But I do know that at this point in life, I decided that I was abundant. I'm supposed to be abundant. Abundance is my birthright, and abundance is here for me now. And so that's the other part I wanted to talk about tonight. So, when you decide that you're going to be abundant and step into the frequency of abundance, sometimes if you tell your people that your friends, if they're not on the same page with you, they will laugh at you. Especially if you're not, especially if you ain't got no money now, or if you are not in a position, where they think you should be if you are abundant. Okay. So one of the things I want to say is, the Bible always speaks of this. It says, don't share your don't cast your pearls to the swine. So don't be giving your good stuff out and telling people all about, what your dreams are, if they're not in a space to understand or be supportive. Because what you need is somebody that's supportive. So somebody that's on the same wavelength as you. So I just believe that that all we have to do is, make sure that we are loving on ourselves, being our most authentic self, doing the things that we know we're called to do, because there are a lot of times, things we're called to do, and we don't even get them done because we're around here, wondering and hoping and wishing and praying, instead of speaking what you desire and putting yourself in the frequency of the thing. And I heard a live today, and I can't even remember who it was because I listened to a couple of people today. But I heard a live today, and the person was talking about how, when you make a decision to be abundant, you have to stand there on that, and regardless of what happens, because things happen, stuff comes up, but it don't have to have anything to do with you. It's like what I tell some of my patients when they come through. I say, just because just because your parents and everybody had diabetes or, heart disease or whatever, does not have to be you. You do not have to have it. I said, it's not it's not automatic. It's not like breathing, like we got to breathe, But it's not like that. And I tell people that all the time to encourage them so that they know that they have a choice in the matter. You know, you can put yourself in that frequency too. Put yourself in the frequency of sickness. You know, you can put yourself in the frequency of illness. But when you decide to move your needle into that frequency and you are able to feel on the inside of you, you know, with every fiber of your being that you are abundant, that God has blessed you every single day, regardless if you have a dime in your pocket. And let me tell you something, what will begin to happen is you will begin to come across money all kinds of ways, all kinds of places, as long as you're open to it. You know, and for me, every day I say I'm open to receive, every day and every night, because I'm talking about in the physical and I'm talking about in the spiritual as well. Every day I'm open to receive. And so today, let me show you what I was open to receive today. So today I was cleaning up and look what I found. A crisp $20 bill, cleaning up, didn't even know. I said, look at that, open to receive and completely abundance. And then I looked down, I was vacuuming the floor and I looked down and there was a dime. I said, look at that. You know, open to receive, abundance. And I was so grateful, you know, for all of that. You know, when I pick a penny up, I'm grateful. Because you know what? I didn't have it before. I'm a little richer than I was the day before. You know, and that's the other part. You know, as you're getting in this frequency of abundance, you want to feel that thing. You know, you want to feel it like nothing else. And I'm telling you, when you start to feel it like that, it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Your business could be not making a dime. You know, you could be, you know, living in, you know, a place that you want to move from. You know, anything, all kinds of things can happen. But then once you get yourself in that place, Neville Goddard calls it living from the end. And I like to think about the law of assumption. Okay. Melissa, thank you for joining, sweetie. I like to think about the law of assumption because this is how I think about it. Because the law of assumption says that you can assume a thing and it is. And so Neville Goddard talks about when he wanted to be in Barbados. And I'm going to get this story right, y'all. But he wanted to be in Barbados. But he was in New York City. And he said there was the boat that could get him there was full or whatever, didn't have any openings. And so, but he wanted to be in Barbados. And so his mentor told him to put himself in Barbados in his mind. When he goes to sleep, say that he goes to sleep and visualize that he's going to sleep in his bed in Barbados. And so that's what he did. And so you know what happened, right? You already know the story. He ended up getting his trip to Barbados and going to Barbados. And so this is what I'm telling you. So that's my favorite law. I mean, I like the law of expectation, you know, and all that stuff, the law of detachment and, you know, the law of, all those things. I like all that stuff, but I love the law of assumption because if you can just assume a thing and it is, and that is the one that I've been using a lot, you know, in lots of places. I've been using it at work. I said, no. People will say, oh, you're going to have a bad day or you're going to have a bad night. I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to have a good night. Yeah, no. You take that stuff with you, you know, and just using it in all kinds of ways, you know, and putting yourself in that space and just knowing. Now, y'all know what? I'm telling you something because it's hard. It was very difficult. It was not an easy thing to do. It was very difficult. You know, there are times when, you know, I'm still challenged because, you know, this work never ends. But it was very difficult to get to this space. You know, even though I believe that I'm a person of faith and I always have been that way. You know, Lord knows I went to church enough. Should have been. But that's another story. But it's challenging because, you know, sometimes what you see ain't what you get. You know, and you're looking at your circumstances and looking at the things or looking at the lack of the things, and then you just want to think about the lack. But you want to not do that. You want to put yourself in that space and you want to know that whatever it is that you have, you know, that is good for you, All of those things, because sometimes it's just not, it's just not, sometimes it's like you have to really focus to keep yourself in that type of place, and I'm telling y'all something that's real and something that I know, something that I actually live, because I really honestly, when I go to sleep, before I go to sleep, I do visualizations and I visualize, some things that I desire. Like I said, I'm waiting for my house, and I'm in gratitude for it. I already have slept in it. I actually designed that thing in my mind, because we're building it, and I'm so excited, even thinking about it. I have already, checked out the spa pool and stuff like that. I already found out how much it was going to cost, $15,000 to $50,000 for the pool that I want. So, I've already checked that out. I looked at the little house in Costco's, and it's a little house, like outside house or whatever. And I'm going to use it for a healing room. I already looked at that. I already priced and everything. Girl, I'm like ready. So I'm just, walking it out. And I'm also seeing it and knowing it and visualizing it. And the other piece of that is not worrying about it and not focusing on anything else. No lack at all. Not even at all. Not for a moment. And that's the thing. But it's so difficult to get to that space when you're in a crazy spot. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I have been in spots where I moved across the country. I don't know, about 2,500 miles. And I drove it in a day and a half, and I had $500 to my name to drive across the country. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful. Number one, it's not now, because the gas is so high now. I probably would have never made it with that little bit of money. But gas wasn't as expensive back when I did the move. So, but it was such an amazing thing. But the thing is everything after that was phenomenal. But that journey right there, that driving across the country and then having to, stay with somebody and then get a job, and then I got a job, and then I got 2 jobs, and I got fired from both of them. And then I took a little while to get another job, and I was asking God, what did I do wrong? Did I make did I make a mistake? Should I go back where I came from? Because I was really thinking about that. Because when you're going through all that stuff, and my thing is too, I'm not a person that, likes to live with people. I like to have my own space. And so, I had to do that. And I was like, at one time, I was like, I don't even know what am I supposed to do? And so at that time was when I really started diving into this work. And it was so hard to do at the time because, number one, I was so broke because I didn't have a job. And, I think I ended up getting a little bit of food stamps so I could, at least give my cousin, food stamps to buy food. But I didn't, it was nothing. So I think about that. I consider that my dark night of the soul because that was a rough time. But if I had made that move, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have met my husband, who was in Arizona waiting for me. So, because it was just nothing logical about it. I know it was all spirit. But, and when you think about it like that, and when you start really looking at, how can you be abundant? Sometimes it starts with shifting the way you talk to yourself, shifting the way you talk, period. Because a lot of times we say things and we don't even realize that they're so limiting and so negative. So it starts with looking at how you speak to yourself. What is, what makes you feel good? What are things that, light you up? All of those things. So when you start to really, try to keep yourself in that space, and I know it's difficult. That's why I say try to keep yourself in that space. Because if you go out, you could just go back in. But try to keep yourself in that space. And then make sure that you are visualizing all throughout the day, and that you have created some affirmations that work for you. Because so many people, to do these affirmations, and they say them like a robot and they don't even feel them. But what you want to do is you want to create some personal affirmations that you feel. You make them up. Don't get them out of a book, or you can get them out of a book and then modify them to you. But you make them up according to your situation and what it is that you desire and what you want. So that's what I want you to do. So I'm going to get off here, but I just appreciate y'all for showing up. Thank you, Melissa, and anybody else that's on here. I appreciate you. Make sure that you like and that you share this out. I'll be back on tomorrow. It'll probably be late because I'm supposed to work at 2. So I usually get off about this time. So I may come on after I get off. If not, it'll be Wednesday. Depends. So, anyhow, that's all I have for you. Those of you that are following me on TikTok at Intuitive Tammy, I'm going live on there when I get off of here. Because I try to do it at the same time, but it doesn't work. Because I'm talking to people on here and talking to people on there. It's just confusing. So I decided to just do my live here and talk to y'all here and then go on TikTok. Oh, I appreciate you, Melissa. Thank you. I appreciate you for showing up. I thank you. I've been going live. This is day 12, and I'm about to, I'm trying to do 30 days of lives because I'm pushing YouTube out the gate. So again, much love. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening, night, weekend, whatever it is, whenever you catch this in your world. And I will see you another day. Make sure that you are subscribed. And then make sure you watch some videos because I need to monetize. And I need some watch hours. So y'all watch some videos and then share it out and let some other people watch them. I don't know if y'all noticed, but that's what I've been doing on Facebook. Is sharing my live videos here because I've been more live here and TikTok. Because I feel like I'm going to use those platforms to move into monetization because they, all right. Much love. Have a wonderful evening or morning or day. Bye.